guys, and welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about salt. Did you know that salt is the most oldest seasoning in the world? It goes back like 8,000 years, and there's so many uses for salt. Number one, salt of course is used for seasoning. If you add just a pinch of salt to your steaks, your poultry, your fish, your vegetables, it's gonna taste so much better. And did you know that we only need 1 teaspoon of salt a day? So if you visually divide that teaspoon into little portions, that's how much salt you can use a day. Number two, salt is used for preservation. I saw a documentary once, and that's an interesting story, guys. There's this little village in China, and a small restaurant there, and then they serve this fermented fish. Apparently they've kept this fish in the big barrels filled with salt for over 100 years. So can you imagine this fish is 100 years old? It probably doesn't smell good, but people eat it, and then they actually pay big money to eat it. So salt kills bacteria. Number three, salt is used in desserts. Yes, if you add just a little bit of salt, for example in your cupcakes, your batters, it's like a yin and yang. It's a balance between sweet and savory. It's gonna taste so much better. And also salt is used to top things like frostings and chocolate. It also adds this balance between sweet and salty. It's very interesting taste. And number four, salt is used for cooking. And I don't mean like for cooking like seasoning. I mean for cook inside the salt. I went to a very fancy restaurant once, and the most expensive item on the menu was chicken cooked in a salt crust. And so here comes this little mountain of salt, and they put it on the table, and then the chef comes with a hammer and he taps around that salty crust, and he reveals this absolutely beautiful chicken. And if you taste it, it's like to die for. It's moist, it's not salty at all. So chicken absorbs just enough salt for this particular dish. And number five, believe it or not, a lot of you think that salt is really bad for you. But some types of salts, they're usually used for health reasons, like doing salt water flushes. And there's a lot of salts that contain a lot of good minerals for you. So a lot of people just drink a little bit of that salty water to give your body an extra boost of minerals and vitamins and different compounds that need for your body. So let's talk salt. I'm gonna go over all the salts I have and tell you how to use them and when to use them. And I hope you guys will give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't. And let's go. So the first salt I want to talk to you about is a table salt. And table salt is your common household salt that you can just buy in the grocery store. It does have some additives to it. It has some iodine in it and anti-caking additives. So I don't use this salt very often in cooking, but I do use it in baking because it is so fine, and it's just easy to measure this type of salt if you need, let's say, 1/4 of a teaspoon in your cupcakes or even in your meringue. So this salt is okay to use, but if you use it for pickling, for example, making sauerkraut or making pickles, sometimes that iodine that's in this salt can change the color of the final product, so I wouldn't use it for pickling. The next salt I want to talk to you about is a kosher salt. And kosher salt, unlike the table salt, does not have any additives. So it's a better salt, it's a sea salt. It's a little bit coarser than a table salt, and it's used everywhere in the commercial kitchens as well as in the regular households. I think it's just so much easier to use. I simply prefer this salt over this one because if the recipe calls for a pinch of salt, so you just pick it up and there's your pinch. It's kind of difficult to pick up this one because it's just going to sink through your fingers. And I think the reason it's called kosher, not because of how it's made. It's probably used for removing excess blood from meats, which is in Jewish religion this process called kasherut. When you soak the meat or sprinkle the meat with the salt to remove that excess blood before you either refrigerate it or cook it or even freeze it, and it will preserve the natural color of meat better. And the next salt I want to talk to you about is a Himalayan salt. And the Himalayan salt comes in the rock form, and it's not in Himalaya. It's 190 miles from Himalaya, and it's mined in a small village in Pakistan. And it comes in a rock form, and then you just break these rocks to make a fine Himalayan salt, or you could just keep it in the small rocks like this and use these rocks in your salt grinder. The reason it's pink, because since it is a mineral compound and it's found in the Mother Earth, so I guess the minerals that around this particular area make this salt pink, and then it's like veins. If you find that rock, if you look it up and Google it, then you could see it's a rock that has a lot of veins that go through it. There's some of them a darker color pink, some of them a lighter color pink. That's why you get the pink color. And then actually this salt is very healthy for you. And the next salt I want to talk to you about is a Celtic salt. And it's a sea salt, and it's probably one of the purest form of salt. The reason it's gray because it hasn't been bleached or it has no additives to it. And I use this salt a lot in pickling because it does not make the pickling water cloudy. For some reason, I just like it for pickling. The next salt I want to talk about is a very, very special salt and probably one of the most expensive salts out there. It's called fleur de salt, which in French means flower of salt. I guess the reason it was named this way because when the seawater evaporates, it creates sort of like a salty crust that looks like carnation. So it looks like a flower. And this salt is a hand-picked salt. So there are people, I forgot the name, they actually have an actual name that they call themselves, that they go around and see where that salty water was evaporated, and they collect this salt by hand, and they put it in the little wooden boxes. So this salt is great for actually finishing your dishes. For example, if you made your steak, you cooked your steak, you can under-season your steak a little bit and just sprinkle this salt on top. This salt can also be used in a variety of chocolates, pretzels. If you go by the Christmas bark, I think it's called, then you would see little flakes of salt on top. I mean, of course, probably not this one, but it's going to add also a nice flavor to sweet dishes. And the next salt I want to talk to you about, this is a sea salt, but it's in a crystals. And then this is what I use in my grinder. So you can just put it in the salt grinder and grind it accordingly to how much salt you need in a particular dish. And if you remember, I talked to you about that chicken and a salty crust. So this is the type of salt that the chefs use to bury either fish or poultry in and then cook in it. And this is also great for pickling, and it's also great for just for everyday use, and it's a plain sea salt. Another salt that I want to talk to you about is sea salt flakes, and this is also a finishing salt that is used in variety of desserts and just to top things up. Thank you so much, guys, for watching, and season greetings to you and your family. And I better go in the kitchen and start cooking with all this salt. So I will see you later with the new recipes. Bye.